We are happy to have you here. Kevin Hill is about ready to give you some good stuff. He is the general manager of media and entertainment. Yes? Is that your title? That's a big title. He's hailing currently from Boca Raton, Florida, talking about this great company and all the stuff they're doing. So, because it's the first session of the day, we need a huge round of applause, not one of those indifferent, like, so when I say now, I'm going to introduce him. So please, big round of applause. He's here from, who, you know about this company? You're going to know more about him in a second. Craigers here. Big round of applause for Kevin Hill. Right out. No, come on. There you go, buddy.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys so much. So Kevin Hill, GM Media and Entertainment for Coactive. As you can see, I always wanted, after being so many years in corporate America, I always wanted to be able to wear the t-shirt with the logo and just the jacket over it. So, just a little bit of background on myself. I spent 20 years in the media and entertainment space for Cox Communications and then Comcast. Had my own little venture-backed startup after that. And then I saw what real engineers and real technologists could do when I saw Coactive. So I ended up joining Coactive about 2 years ago because of just the power of what I thought this technology could do in the media and entertainment space. So this morning, better. Oh, thank you. Okay. Sorry. Like my wife and kids, they would never let me have a microphone in the house. What we'd love to talk to you about today, and then I'll save some time at the end to actually take some questions. And I have our CTO here to come up and join me, is how you can go from these large archives to audiences with the power of multimodal AI to help you do it and really unlock the ability of search, discovery, automation, and personalization. So I've already dated myself, and I think I've seen some of you guys here for the last probably 20 years as well, but there is this enormous explosion of content that is transforming how our media partners are needing to engage. We've changed how you have to now do personalization and recommendations, the expectation that people have. We've changed the ability to do content discovery because there's just so much content that's there. And so many people have this incredible catalog. This is one of our partners here. We're helping them with the 50 years of SNL. They have this incredible catalog. How do you truly unlock the value of that catalog and really get the benefit of everything you can from the consumers? So just a couple, what are the challenges that we're hearing when we're out there talking to these enormous companies? The first one is this concept of discovery and creativity and creation. I cannot find the content. So the operations folks are literally saying, I can't find the content. I'm having to go through hours and hours of footage to be able to find a specific moment. And that leads to a lot of higher cost, a huge spend on manual labeling. And it just makes for a very inefficient process that people are now trying to fix. The second is for the consumer, this ability to have personalization, a great consumer experience. And what it's leading to is the consumers are churning. They're going somewhere else. So there's this lower revenue that's being materialized, lower engagement, subscriber churn. And then when you wrap it all together, there's this ability of doing this insights and measurements. And it's like, I don't know what drives an asset performance or how I could even have some predictive nature around an asset performance. And again, drives lower revenue, this ability where you're putting up content and you really have no idea why it's performing, especially when you're looking at it across the broadcast nature. So when we're talking to our partners, here's what they're really looking for, and here's the concerns that they're articulating out there. The first is that there's long delays in getting models into use, which we're going to show you how with our partner AWS, we're able to do that much, much more rapidly. And there's these manual tagging and slow workflows. So what they're looking for from partners like us is rapid enablement. Second is these models, everyone's kind of used the model and done a demo, and it looks great. But then you get to this point of when you're trying to get to this commercial grade responses and you realize, oh, this model's really putting out 60 or 70% accuracy. And that's a problem, and it's not meeting the business need. And there's also this poor alignment to taxonomy, which we'll talk about. So we have this need of this infinite customization that people can have a human in the loop when they're trying to get these taxonomies and these searches done right. And then too much expertise needed to build, and it's costly to customize and maintain. So what they're really looking for is a flexible platform. And that's one of the things that we're going to show you is how our platform enables this flexibility of being able to do all of the things you need to do. Locked into single vendors, no freedom to try new models. People are building across, let's say, one model versus being able to have the ability to use Bedrock and some open models and different ones. We give you that capability. We're model agnostic. And then just being at scale. We have partners that have 100 million minutes of content that they want to have thousands of pieces of taxonomy associated with. So being able to have enterprise scale performance is really, really important to these large media companies. So how are we accomplishing all of this? We have this media and entertainment multimodal stack built tightly with AWS and other partners that allows us to deliver on all I was just talking about. First, obviously, the secure storage layer, S3, 90% of our partners we've been working with have been dealing with S3. We're able to interact, read-only access to their content, horizontally scalable and enterprise grade. Second, we have this optimized pre-processing layer, and this is something that not a lot of other people talk about, but when you think about it, it's about garbage in and garbage out. So if you're analyzing that much video and you're doing it at 30 frames per second and it's me standing up here, you're going to get a lot of frames of me standing in one spot, which doesn't help you downstream when you're trying to do the analysis. It doesn't help you downstream when you're trying to tag. So we actually have some proprietary patent pending pre-processing that we do to be able to only pick out the key frames that are needed on the video side. Then our model agnostic layer. Here's where you can swap in any model depending on what you're looking for, depending on the region, your need. Different models are built for very different specific things. This is where we're able, with our partner like AWS, to be able to go through and choose whichever model is best for your specific need. We have our embeddings generation layer. This is where we have this real-time optimized embeddings to start getting into the semantic retrieval to power the applications at top that you'll be able to see in some of these next demos. And then this is the most important part about what we do. We have a layer, a semantic metadata fine-tuning layer that is separate from the model layer. So nothing seeps back into the model. And what I'll be able to show you is how you're able to use this layer to get to commercial grade, have humans in the loop, change the taxonomy, change the metadata you're trying to create for the apps without having to reprocess the content. So the content's only been processed once, and you have this capability of doing all of this fine-tuning, getting to this commercial grade, scalable solutions you're looking to power your apps. And then at the top, we kind of have this unified high performance storage layer for all of the different metadata, for the embeddings that are also passed through. And that allows all of this data and app layer at the top. So the way to think about it is that we can take incredibly large catalogs of video and create the bespoke custom metadata that you need, the bespoke custom meta signals that you need to power all of your applications. Our main partners that we've been working with are builders. They're big and they're builders, but they don't want to mess with all of this mundane stack that our PhDs have figured out how to do. What they want to focus on is building the IP in the applications on top, combining the data that we're providing them as well as third-party data to be able to create applications to help drive their business. So let's get into some use cases, right? It's probably why everyone's here. I'm going to focus on one of our main partners. You can probably figure out who it is by SNL and the Olympics and all of that. But three really big use cases that we'll talk about. First is discovery. How do we find things at scale, fast, both for marketing materials creation as well as for operations? Second, how do we tag at scale? And then third, how do we power these applications at the end, these custom applications that people are building to really drive their business? All right, let's first talk about discovery. Here's a video instead of me trying to go live. Say you're searching for fencing. Through our whole catalog, you're able to find that. Now you can, once everything has been processed, you can now search for surfing and find that. Something a little more specific, Draymond Green biting a gold medal. You're able to find even things like that. Now we can go and let's go back to audio. You can do this same type of semantic search over audio. So you're looking at our UI. This is just built on top of all of our APIs. Simone Biles is not competing. In the 2021 Olympics, this was a big moment. Instantly finds it seconds afterward.
I wonder if she had news for them about what's going on.
We just found out, of course, that Simone Biles is not competing in any further part of this team final.
And so what we're able to do seconds after thousands, hundreds of thousands of hours of content have been processed, we're able to instantly semantically search across it with no metadata, both for actions, for emotions, for specific people. And then we'll show you also how you can do it for people that are not well known by the model. So what has this done for the operations there, for the Olympics team? Able to build clip compilations very quickly. You know, you knew Draymond Green had done it, but you couldn't remember where it was in 100,000 minutes. You might as well just search. It enables semantic search, giving back higher specificity and precision, reduction in turnaround time, and this removal of these zero results. When you've kind of played with other models, you'll see that. And this is where our refinement layer really comes in. Now, let's talk about taxonomies at scale. Let's say you've got, I think I put in about 150 hours of content here. And let's say you wanted to look for, you're putting marketing materials together. You want to do some rapid editing, but you need to look for these things like athlete celebrations, athletes crying, athletes with flags, crowds cheering, all the things you would normally see in a production of marketing materials or social media posts or those different things. You can kind of try and find it like we used to by just scrolling through the thumbnails, or we've built a layer that we call dynamic tags that's in that metadata creation layer. And it's as simple as this. You select the data set. That's the Olympics up there. I named it critical moments. And then you literally just paste in as long of a list that you would like to. Okay. Now, over hundreds of thousands of hours, it instantly starts tagging all of those things at once. Again, this is just our UI. It's built on top of our APIs. Most people are actually doing API calls to get all this information. And so now you can choose any one of these. And I pulled up here medal presentations, and it has now scanned through all of the data and is now showing you the medal presentations, when it started, when it stopped. You can now integrate that into a DAM like you'll see when we're talking about it for the last section. Same thing for athletes crying, right? It's taken these common terms in our layer, bounced it off the model, and then identified all of those at scale. And now your entire catalog is tagged with all of these different terms. Now, let's say you wanted to do something even a little bit more complicated. This term female empowerment for ads, trying to figure out what's going to make an ad really resonate. Let's say you wanted to use a term like, I wanted to find ads that had female empowerment as a part of it. Well, female empowerment means something different to Nike, to Coke, to Hobby Lobby, to Tesla. They all mean very, very, very different things. What we allow you to do in that metadata refining enablement layer is choose positive and negative qualifiers to be able to define this term that is not an LLM term, right? It's specific to you. And then once you've taken those labels like we did over here on the left, over here on the right, it goes through and picks all of the top content that is representative of how you've created this female empowerment. So you can create multiple of these. They're associating them with the ads and then being able to determine, oh, this ad's going to perform this way versus this ad's going to perform that way, with things like working class, female empowerment, social justice, terms that you can define yourself to be able to really draw some specific metadata to power the application downstream. What has it been able to do? We've been able to do this at higher precision. So within less than a month, NBC turned it over to us and said, you're doing this better than our human labelers, defining what female empowerment or working class looks like. We turned around the time now, so now they're able to do thousands of ads instead of just a few to put into their model. And we've done it at scale and speed, so they no longer have to hire the people to be able to do this. Last one, powering your applications downstream. This is what I think is really the most important for the people here. You're building these applications. These applications need very specific, high-quality, commercial-grade data. I like to say, you know what? Your applications deserve better metadata, okay? Like, they're trying their hardest, and we're probably not giving them what they need to really be able to power themselves and have it really work. So here is an example with one of our partners of Thomson Reuters that was actually using all of the information they had in there, and it was only the traditional metadata that was associated with it. And if you remember back during the campaign, there was this moment where Trump was wearing this orange vest and driving the trash truck and all of that, right? So when you searched Thomson Reuters for Trump wearing an orange vest, what you found was this guy that was labeled as orange vest and the Trump sign behind, which wasn't what anyone was looking for Thomson Reuters to be able to sell more content. Now, by just powering this little button that we have on their site right now, you turn on the AI semantic search. You remember the stack, how we passed all this metadata through now to the apps and the embeddings and our ability to do a semantic search. Now you find all of this content that has no metadata associated with all named Trump wearing an orange vest, but you're finding the content that is truly needed. And now you're enabling all of these incremental sales that they were not able to do, finding all of these things. So when you think about it now, right, these key takeaways, it's like it just significantly performs the traditional metadata, significantly helps your app perform that much better. And this goes across not only for semantic search, but if you think about the metadata, if you think about ad optimization engines, if you think about personalization engines, this is how it all comes together when we pass it through with commercial grade. What does it really mean for you? It lets your teams focus on what's important, right? What delivers the value, not on which model to pick and where storage is going to be, right? Us and AWS can help you do all of that hard work, and then you can focus on purely on delivering the value to your customers and revenue back to your company. And it lets your developers focus really on what matters. So instead of being like down here having 60% of their time focused on infrastructure, we've got it switched over that now 80% of their time are focused on applications and solutions. Okay. And we're turning that around in less than a month or two to be able to get people up and running. The final thing, just so you can kind of get a picture of how our partners are really using us through everything that we just talked about. We have retailers that are using us in this kind of campaign production area. Again, data to power their applications to be able to do something. We have companies like Fandom that are using us for content moderation at high volume, thousands, hundreds of thousands of images being checked to make sure they're safe to be put up online and doing that in real time. We talked about Reuters with really being able to get to the true personalized semantic search of content, and NBC using us across the board for media measurement, powering their media measurement apps, combining things like ratings information with us providing them minute by minute what's on the screen, and then being able to combine the minute by minute ratings with the minute by minute what's on the screen to determine why ratings are going up and down. They've built their own application that does that, and we help power it. And that's it. So I really appreciate your time. I have my CTO here. I left a little time here for questions, so I'd love to field any questions. You can scan my QR code here. That gets you my LinkedIn, and I'll follow up. But I'd love to hear what you think and see whatever questions you might have.
Cool. Do you want to bring Will up? And
yeah, here comes Will right now.
He's doing it now with backpack.
True founder mode, backpack, the vest.
Perfect. Well, we're going to do this again when we say goodbye to Kevin and thank him. But, how about a quick round of applause? What a great presentation. Now that's the quieter round of applause. We'll, get fired up. All right, guys. And if you would raise your hand, I'll give you a microphone.
I think great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question about the custom taxonomy. So you process the video into a semantic, I guess, vector database or something like that. And then you can create the metadata from that semantic metadata base from the vectors instead of having to go back and reprocess. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really smart.
No.
Sorry, I guess I don't have a question. You're validating that's how it works.
I'm validating that's how it works, mostly because, again, so I'm Will Gavi. I'm one of the co-founders of Field CTO at Coactive. We've been at this for 4+ years. Both my co-founder and I got our PhDs in the field. Before that, we were at MIT. That's where we met. It's a winded way of me saying, that's very unusual, the ability to create custom metadata and generate for the semantic layer. I feel very confident saying that I don't think anyone here in the showroom has any technology like this. This is our proprietary tech. And the scale which we do it and the flexibility which we do it, that's core IP.
Oh, yeah, hold your mic. Just your mic.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else? Good question. Good answer. Anybody else have any questions? All right. Will and Kevin, thank you. How about, again, a big round of applause for these guys. Great presentation, man. Great products. Thank you for partnering with AWS too. We love having you part of the family.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thanks again.
AWS.
Thank you all for being here. We've got another presentation coming up in just about 10 minutes. Make sure you scan the QR code right here if you want to know when any of the presentations are and who's going to do them. We love having you here. Welcome to NAB Day 2. See you in a few minutes.